Hello and welcome to today's client catch up. We are joined by Ceri Barnes. She has just completed her first initial BT with us and was actually one of our winners for having such an amazing transformation. And honestly, I just want to say your transformation over these 10 weeks, Ceri, has been amazing. So really well done. Give yourself a massive pat on the back. You know, you've really achieved so much and just taken everything on board and run with it. So thank you very much for all your adherence. And I just want to start by asking, very firstly, why did you join this BT?
Well, I think if I look back, like years and years, I was always very disciplined and motivated because I was dance trained, and same as Kelly. Spent 6 years at professional dance school, and it's drummed into you the discipline, the motivation, and I was never ever short of that. And really, through my adult life, even my children 34, 36 years ago, I was always aware that I was exercising regularly. I ran, I swam, I hit the gym regularly, and I was obviously teaching loads, building a business, all of that stuff. Obviously, a lot younger then, not that that makes any difference. So, the motivation was always there for me, and I felt good. And I felt really at my best, I suppose. And that carried on over the years. Really, it doesn't mean I got everything right, especially in terms of nutrition. Um, you know, that's obviously something, and there's always something to work on. There's always something to learn. But I always felt really good. And then I guess years went on. We hit the pandemic. That was quite stressful because I've got a studio and a business and clients and everything. And I'm always a pretty positive person, and I rode that, and we were obviously really proud that we kept the business going, and it was quite a lot of rebuilding, and always really quite good. I was having grandchildren, and life was like super, super. And then we got to 2023, and that became a really tough year because we had some family stuff going on, and Simon and myself really needed to support our family. And then my mum became ill, and within 6 weeks she had gone, and that was a big sort of quick shock. And at that point, I hadn't realised that I would be so affected by. I'd lost my dad like 17 years before, and he was absolutely my hero. And I kind of wasn't prepared for how you'd feel not having any parents anymore. And I think your mortality becomes, you become aware of your mortality. You realise I've got an older sister, but you're suddenly up this sort of end here. And I just didn't anticipate how sort of I'd lose my spark. And I was fine teaching, and I went to my default work, 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 work. Did that before when my dad passed away. And probably at that point, I'd kind of lost a bit of mojo. I'd lost a bit of joy. I felt really flat. And I really struggled to pull myself out of it, I think. So by the end of that year, I sort of had a bit of a chat with myself and thought, come on, you need to pull up. It didn't affect my work at all. And that's the thing, isn't it? You have to keep smiling.
Yeah.
And then as time went on, I kind of just thought, I then turned 60 last year, and you got all these people like, oh, you look fantastic, you look amazing, you just got such amazing energy, you're always positive. But inside, I didn't feel it. I felt really flat. For me, I've never experienced that before. I even thought, do I need to talk to somebody, which I've never done. And I thought, yeah, I'm doing okay. I'm ticking over. I'm doing this. I'm doing this. But my heart, like for the first time in my life, just wasn't quite in it. It was in my teaching, and I was like giving to everybody else, but I don't think I was giving to me. And I kind of thought, I need something. I need something in my life to bring back that spark and that joy of doing stuff for me. And there's only one way I'm going to do this, and that is to get Kelly and Jason on board. I need to join you because I'd obviously done a little bit of work with you before on a much earlier program. I know Kelly as a tutor, through the fitness world. I knew that I wouldn't trust anybody else, and I knew that I needed, for once in my life, to be given to and not give. And honestly, I can't tell you what a difference it's made. I think I was starting to get my spark back, but I just I'd done quite well. I'd stopped drinking alcohol over a year ago, pretty much, apart from the very odd occasion, because I know it's bad for immunity, and I was suffering in the winters. My blood sugar was a little bit high. I'm guessing hereditary, but really worked on that, and knocking that down. And I think the whole time was like, I'm in my 60s, but I want to carry on being this person that people do slightly aspire to. Like, I want to be fit, I want to be healthy, I want to be able to take women on my journey with me in the 60s, 70s. And there's only one way I'm going to keep doing that, and that is to be at my best. And I wasn't at my best, and I didn't feel at my best. And I knew I was doing okay, but I knew I could do so much better. And that's why I thought it's a no-brainer. Here we go, sign up. Can't wait to start.
And it was amazing to have you on board. I mean, obviously we've known each other for a long time, and I knew for you, Ceri, it wasn't really about the weight loss for you in any way, shape or form. Like you said, this was having two coaches for you, there for you, looking after you for a change, but be able to guide you and support you, somebody who you could ask questions about, and not feel like there was any judging at all, with helping and supporting you, because you're a busy lady, you run your own business, you multiple, things that you're doing, classes you're teaching, you've got children, grandchildren, busy all the time. And for you, I kind of thought when you came onto the program, I was like, I really hope we can give you your time, that you can get back for you, because I know you're a giver. You give, your energy to everybody else. So really, let us know how these last 10 weeks, from a personal perspective, how has it been for you?
Well, first of all, an absolute joy to get. I mean, the gym is a challenge because I know that the time is limited. I've got my space here at home where I teach as well. I've got everything on hand. The joy is getting back to exercising for me, because I love it. I love the way it makes me feel. I love having the support, and just, I think I put on a post, every day's a school day. We all know stuff, but I love learning from other people, or even listening to something in a different way. And, I'm never as blasé to say, like, I've got all this experience, I know everything, because we don't forever. So soaking up information, being looked after and cared for, because that's what I like to give to my clients. And I knew that that's what I would get from you, is that that real personal care and support, which is what it's all about. It wouldn't work for me otherwise. I can't just do some generic program. But I know that the way you work is a great fit for me, because Kelly, your work is like what I love to do, the style, the whole thing. And so it's just given me the chance to get that exercise back for me. And I know that I'm a people pleaser, including pleasing myself. And once I commit to something, that is it, I'm on it. So I love every single workout. I love the fact that I've looked at my nutrition and changed the protein, has made an enormous difference. And I just feel like, my husband, Simon, said to me, if there's one thing, you've got your spark back. And he's brilliant. He's so supportive. He must get fed up with me going on and on about my work and now this program, blah, 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 all the time. But he's so supportive, and because all he cares about is that I feel better, and he can see it in me, and like my energy is, I just feel like I've gone vroom, and I'm back to where I was. And it is all this program. That's what it's done for me. It's made me feel like someone's lit that flame again, and I'm like, yes, I'm back on.
That's brilliant. And do you know what, Ceri? Having seen and known you for quite some time now, I've always been really complimentary of how professional you are, and I've always made sure I've always complimented just how professional you are and the steps up you've taken in, you know, in seeing your studio and really like watching that take shape. And, you know, what I noticed very early on is you've got a massive thirst for knowledge, and having so much experience, you want to be able to get that knowledge to take you to the next level. And you're always really intrigued by how you can keep developing. And something I'm really intrigued by, and something I want to ask you a question about, and I don't want to put you on the spot with this. What was your expectation? Because I know, obviously, you've trained for many years, and I know you hold your own standards to a very high standard in terms of what you would expect from yourself. But what were your expectations going into this, and how has that matched where you're at now? Did you put any expectations or pressure on yourself?
I don't think I really gave that a lot of thought. I just knew that I needed, well, both of you to give me the chance to get myself back on track. My expectations are of myself more than anything. Like, I don't like to disappoint myself, and I don't like to disappoint you either. And the program is, I had a little bit of body fat to lose, for sure, a bit more than I thought, actually. And, you know, I'm not like coming from a really bad place, but the fact that I made so many changes, I kind of didn't expect that. I thought, oh, I'm going to feel better, I'm going to be back to my exercise. Maybe I'll lose a little bit of body fat because there's a little bit there, feeling a bit stodgy. I didn't expect to look in the photographs at the last check-in and compare them and think, oh God, I really wasn't looking that great. I mean, people would probably look and go, like, what you're talking about, that's not bad at all. But the difference was, it really actually like made me step back and think,
Your entire silhouette completely changed. And as I was creating the images, I said to Kelly, I went, when I send these over to Kerry, I think she's going to be very, very surprised at just how much she's changed in this 10 weeks.
And it's hard because when you haven't got that much body weight to lose, it's hard to see that difference. And kind of, you know, when you do your 2-week check-ins, you know, for some people, they want to see results like instantly, like within 2 weeks. It's like, well, why don't I look like this? Or da-da-da-da-da. But you were very, very consistent with just all of the changes you were implementing. And then, you know, like you said, I mean, you were 60 last year. You actually had your birthday on the last day of the program. And you know, and for a woman who is in her, you know, either 50s, even 40s, like I am, but let alone in her 60s, it's friggin' hard to change your body in that space of 10 weeks. Normally, the changes you make are something that we normally see over a year. You've done this in 10 weeks, which is incredibly difficult to do. What would you say, I mean, obviously I know you said the exercise, but was there anything else that you'd say made the big difference?
I think the change in diet, the increase in protein, because I clearly was way under, and chopping down my carbs a little bit. I think, you know, the protein was a big change, you know, because I didn't realise that there wasn't enough going in. But really, you know, this is how simple it can be. It's not like this great big mountain to climb, and this is why I think the program is wonderful. It's realistic for a start, but you know, you can make some quite substantial changes by simply changing up the protein, and just being more mindful. You know, because I'm like, oh, I really like peanuts, and like, I'll just fill a bowl of peanuts, and then you weigh them and you think, oh no, that's not very good. So more mindful, you know, and it's made me much more mindful about. And I never eat bad stuff, you know, I really don't. But I can have too much of even the good stuff. So it's getting on track with that, and you know, looking at the macros and recording. And I've carried on doing that, and I'm carrying on like I was, because that for me has to happen, and that'll be me now. You won't get rid of me either. But yeah, I feel like I didn't have to do anything immense. It just had to be the right things that I changed. So, I mean, I always walk, you know, you probably realise that I'm like a walking monster. I just like walk. I love to walk, and not a challenge. I love to get outside. I love to do some breath work. I love, lots of the things I'm like, oh, tick, tick, I'm all right on those bits. But, the things that weren't on point really had to have a lift. And, the things that I love to do, and like you say, Jason, I've got a real thirst for knowledge. I just love learning, and I think you have to be able to say, I'm prepared to put the work in because I know that it's going to get me where I want to go. Mm-hmm. And, it's like I think I said in a lot of posts, how you feel. Obviously, how you look is really important. I don't know, maybe you get into your 60s, and it's still important to me, to be fair, but a lot of women might think, I'm doing all right. But that was me, and I'm like, yeah, I'm doing all right, but I can be better. I want to be that person that people, I do want to look at my best. And obviously you have to be realistic because you don't look the same in your 60s, clearly. But I'm all about embracing your age, going with the changes, embrace your white bits of hair, your wrinkles, whatever. But, stay true to yourself. And it's about longevity. It's about health. It's about, I want to be on this planet and live well. There's only one way to do that. And there's only one person that can do it. And it's all down to you as a person. If you don't put the work in, you're not going to feel your best.
And I can most certainly say, Ceri, I'm sure you are a massive, not only an inspiration, but beacon for ladies to see what they can actually achieve when they lock in. And as coaches, you said there about some key things that, really did make the difference. As coaches, it's you sort of like handing the reins over and going, look, this is where I'm at, and us identifying things in what essentially is for you smoothing the corners and just tightening things up and looking at things and just giving it a little bit of an overhaul, and it can have a massive difference to your progress. And that's just identifying some key things that are like, that's where it is, that's what's going to make the difference, and then just honing in on them, the right education around them, and then just going, the fuse is lit, we know Ceri's going to do this, you're locked in, you essentially are not going to be one foot in, one foot out. You're like, I'm in this and I'm doing it. We know you've got that mentality, and it's been amazing to see. It really has, and I'm so glad you've had such a positive result. And it's been a pleasure, and I hope it continues to just continue, going absolutely amazingly. And I know your progress is going to go forward and forward, no doubt whatsoever.
Yeah, and you actually did all the training at home. You did the home workouts, didn't you, Ceri? You didn't doing
home workout.
Yeah, didn't have to go into the gym, you were training at home, doing the home programs. And I devised them specifically so that they were only 30 minutes each workout, because I know these are busy people. These are people who need to get this workout in either around what they're doing in their schedule, or first thing in the morning, or, last thing at night. And it's kind of like designed in that way. Any other final points that you would like to give, Ceri, about anyone listening to this who may be thinking about signing up for the body transformation?
Well, I think if you are looking for something to get you to better health, better fitness, in better shape, there's a lot out there. We know there's a lot out there, and anything that makes you serious promises is like, leave that one over there. You have to be prepared to put some work in. Obviously, you need to be able to commit, but it's worth it, because it isn't. You don't have anything massively dramatic to make really big difference to how you feel and how you look. And the beauty of the program is that, for me, like you said about the home workouts, I can do them when I want to. It's totally flexible. I haven't got to, dial in and be somewhere at certain times, but there is so much support there from you guys that it's almost like being with you, like you would be with a face-to-face coach. You're there, you're on hand, and your support it's genuine, and that's what I love. I really like genuine. Like, if you say something positive, it comes from the heart. It's not like, oh, we better just tell her she's doing really, really well. It's said with care and with love, and that's what ticks the box for me, is that you want people that train you and coach you who really are in your corner. and that's what you get with the program. It's genuine. You've got two people who are caring, kind, supportive, passionate. You can't ask for more than that. I mean, like we buy from people, right? Apart from all the amazing knowledge, apart from all the amazing coaching, which you can't beat, you guys as a partnership give something that you just don't get it anywhere else, full stop. And I wouldn't trust anyone else. So there we go.
Oh, bless you. That's amazing.
That's really nice to hear. Thank you, Ceri. That's really nice.
We really, really appreciate you coming on and having a chat and just sharing your journey. And, you know, you've had a phenomenal 10 weeks. Like we said, you were one of our winners who got our special recognition, which you absolutely 100% deserved. And we just can't wait to see where the next 10 weeks goes from here for you. So kind of just, you know, onwards and upwards, and watch this space, everybody, because Ceri's going for it.
Keep that momentum going. Keep that momentum going. You are going in the right direction for sure.
Yeah, but as you said, I'm not a giver up. I'm not going back to that place where I felt that joy plug had been pulled out a bit. And also I just want to say, I know that everybody on the program, you can tell by the retention how many people are coming back. Everybody appreciates you so much and everything that you do. So it's like, you know, thank you from not just me, but I'm sure everybody feels the same. You know, it's a little community. You're there to support each other, and it feels so good to have that. So you've created something really special.
Thank you. That really warms us, Ceri. Really appreciate that.
Thank you, Ceri. Thank you so much. We will we'll stop there, but thank you so much, Ceri. Take care, everybody.
Have a lovely evening.
I'll